The Last Seance by Agatha Christie. Read by Matthew Jones. Robert Dubray crossed the Thames, humming a little tune to himself. He was a good-looking young man of about 32, with a flesh-coloured face and a little black moustache. By profession he was an engineer. In due course he turned into the road of his destination, approached the door of number 17. Then he mounted the stairs to the flat on the third floor. As he stood there waiting for his ring at the bell to be answered, he hummed once more his little tune. Robert Dubray was feeling particularly cheerful this morning. The door was opened by an elderly woman, whose wrinkled face broke into smiles when she saw who the visitor was. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, Elsie." He passed into the vestibule, pulling off his gloves as he did so. "Madam expects me, does she not?"
"Oh, yes, indeed, sir."
Elsie shut the front door and turned towards him.
"If you just pass into the little drawing-room, Madam will be with you in a few minutes. She's just resting at the moment."
"Resting? Is she not well?"
"Well?"
Elsie gave a snort. She passed in front of Robert and opened the door of the little drawing-room for him. He went in and she followed him.
"Well? How could she be well, poor lamb? All these seances... Seances and seances and more seances. It's not right. It's not natural. It's not what the good Lord intended for us. I'll say it straight out. It's trafficking with the devil."
Robert patted her on the shoulder reassuringly.
There, Elsie, don't excite yourself, and don't be too ready to see the devil in everything you do not understand.
Well,
you may say what you please, sir, but I don't like it. Look at Madam every day. She gets whiter and thinner, and those headaches. Oh, it's no good, all this spirit business. Spirits, indeed. All the good spirits are in paradise. The others are in purgatory.
Your view of the life after death is refreshingly simple, Elsie. He dropped into a chair.
"I am a good Catholic, sir."
She crossed herself, went towards the door, then paused, her hand on the handle.
"After you're married to her, sir, it won't continue, will it, all this?"
"You're a good and faithful creature, Elsie, and devoted to your mistress. Have no fear. Once she is my wife, all this spirit business, as you call it, will cease. For Mrs. Dubray, there will be no more seances."
"It's true what you say."
"Yes," he said then, speaking more to himself than to her. "Yes, all this must end. Simone has a wonderful gift, and she has used it freely. But now she's done her part. As you have justly observed, Elsie, by day she gets whiter and thinner. The life of a medium is a particularly trying and arduous one, involving a terrible nervous strain. All the same, Elsie, your mistress is the most wonderful medium in England, in all of Europe. People come to her because they know that with her there is no trickery, no deceit."
"No, indeed. Madam couldn't deceive a newborn babe if she tried."
"She is an angel, and I shall do everything a man can to make her happy. You believe that?"
"I've observed Madam for many years, sir, and with all respect I may say that I love her. If I did not believe that you adored her as she deserves to be adored, I should be willing to tear you from limb to limb."
"Oh, well, Elsie, you are a faithful friend. And you must approve of me, now that I've told you Madam is going to give up the spirits."
"Yes, sir. But supposing the spirits will not give her up."
"What? What do you say?"
"I said supposing the spirits will not give her up."
"I thought you didn't believe in the spirits, Elsie."
"No more I do. It's foolish to believe in them."
"All the same." "Well?"
"It's difficult for me to explain, sir. But you see, I always thought that these mediums, as they call themselves, were just clever cheats, who imposed on the poor souls who'd lost their dear ones. But Madam's not like that. Madam's good. Madam's honest, and things do happen. It's no trickery. Things happen. That's why I'm afraid. I am sure of this, sir. It's not right. It is against nature and against God. And somebody will have to pay.
Robert got up from his chair and came and patted her on the shoulder. "Calm yourself, my good Elsie. See, I will give you some good news. Today is the last séance. After today, there will be no more."
"There's one today, then?"
"Well, yes, but the last, Elsie, the last."
"Madam is not fit."
But her words were interrupted. The door opened, and a tall, fair woman came in. She was slender and graceful, with the face of a Botticelli Madonna. Robert's face lighted up. Elsie withdrew quickly and discreetly. "Simone!" He took both her long white hands in his and kissed each in turn. She murmured his name very softly.
"Robert, my dear one."
Again he kissed her hands and then looked intently into her face. "Simone, how pale you are! Elsie told me you were resting. You're not ill, my well-beloved?"
"No,
not ill." He led her to the sofa and sat down on it beside her. "But tell me then." The medium smiled faintly. "You will think me foolish." "I think you foolish? Never." Simone withdrew her hand from his grasp. She sat perfectly still for a moment or two, gazing down at the carpet.
"I am afraid, Robert."
He waited for a minute or two, expecting her to go on, but she did not. So he said encouragingly, "Yes? Afraid of what?"
"Just afraid. That is all."
"But—" He looked at her in perplexity, and she answered the look quickly.
"Yes, it's absurd, isn't it? And yet I feel it, just that. Afraid. Nothing more. I don't know what of, or why, but all the time I'm possessed with the idea that something terrible is going to happen to me."
She stared out in front of her. Robert put an arm gently round her. "My dearest, come, you must not give way. I know what it is. The strain of a medium's life is all it is. You need rest and quiet."
"Yes, Robert, you're right. It is what I need, rest and quiet."
"And happiness." His arm drew her closer. Simone, her eyes still closed, drew a deep breath.
"Yes, when your arms are round me, I feel safe. I forget my life, terrible life of a medium. You know much, Robert, but even you do not know all it means."
He felt her body grow rigid in his embrace. Her eyes opened again and stared in front of her.
"One sits in the cabinet, in the darkness, waiting. And the darkness is terrible, Robert. It is the darkness of emptiness, of nothingness. Deliberately one gives oneself up to be lost in it. After that, one knows nothing. One feels nothing. But at last there comes the slow, painful return, the awakening out of sleep, but so tired, so terribly tired."
I know.
"So tired."
Her whole body seemed to droop as she repeated the words.
"But you are wonderful, Simone."
He took her hands in his, trying to rouse her to share his enthusiasm.
"You're unique, the greatest medium the world has ever known."
She shook her head, smiling a little at that.
"Yes, yes."
He drew 2 letters from his pocket.
"See, here, from Professor Roche of Oxford, and this one from Dr. Jenner, both imploring that you will continue to sit for them occasionally."
Simone sprang to her feet.
I will not. It is all to be finished, all done with. You promised me, Robert."
Robert stared at her in astonishment as she stood wavering, facing him almost like a creature at bay. He got up and took her hand.
Yes, certainly it is finished. That is understood. But I'm so proud of you, Simone. That is why I mentioned the letters. It is not that you ever want me to sit again? No. Unless perhaps you yourself cared too occasionally for old friends. No, never again. There is danger. Tell you I can feel it. Great danger.
She clasped her hands on her forehead for a minute, then walked across to the window.
Promise me, never again,
she said in a quieter voice over her shoulder. Robert followed her and put his arms round her shoulders. My dear one, I promise you after today you shall never sit again.
Today? Oh, yes. I had forgotten Madame X.
Yes, she's due any minute now. But perhaps if you do not feel well, Simone. Simone hardly seemed to be listening to him. She was following out her own train of thought.
She is a strange woman. A very strange woman, Robert. Do you know, I almost have a horror of her.
Simone!
Yes, I know. You are like all Englishmen, Robert. To you, a mother is sacred. It's unkind of me to feel like that about her when she grieves so for her lost child, but I can't explain it. She's so black, and her hands. Have you ever noticed her hands, Robert? Great big strong hands, as strong as a man's. Oh!
She gave a little shiver and closed her eyes. Robert withdrew his arm and spoke almost coldly. I really cannot understand you, Simone. Surely you, a woman, would have nothing but sympathy for another woman, a mother bereft of her only child.
Oh, it is you who do not understand. One cannot help these things, my love. The moment I saw her, I felt fear. You remember it was a long time before I could consent to sit for her. I felt sure, in some way, she would bring me misfortune.
Whereas in actual fact, she brought you the exact opposite. All the sittings have been attended with marked success. The spirit of little Amy was able to control you at once, and the materializations have been striking. Professor Roche ought really to have been present at the last one.
Materializations. Tell me, Robert, you know I know nothing of what takes place while I'm in the trance. Are they really so wonderful?
Yes.
At the first few sittings, the figure of the child was visible, in a kind of nebulous haze. But at the last séance... Yes?
Simone, the child that stood there was an actual living child, of flesh and blood. I even touched her. But seeing the touch was acutely painful to you, I would not permit Madame X to do the same. I was afraid that her self-control might break down, and that some harm to you might result.
I was terribly exhausted when I woke. Robert, are you sure that all this is right? You know what dear old Elsie thinks, that I'm trafficking with the devil?
You know what I believe. In the handling of the unknown there must always be danger, but the cause is a noble one, for it is the cause of science. All over the world there have been martyrs to science, pioneers who've paid the price so that others may follow safely in their footsteps. For 10 years now you have worked for science, at the cost of a terrific nervous strain, yes. And now your part is done. From today onward you are free to be happy. She smiled at him affectionately, her calm restored. Then she glanced quickly up at the clock.
Madame X is late. She may not come.
I think she will. Your clock is a little fast, Simone. Simone moved about the room, rearranging an ornament here and there.
I wonder who she is, this Madame X. Where she comes from, who her people are. It's strange we know nothing about her.
Well, most people remain incognito if possible when they come to a medium. It's an elementary precaution.
I suppose so.
A little china vase she was holding slipped from her fingers and broke to pieces on the tiles of the fireplace.
You see, I'm not myself. Robert, would you think me very, very cowardly if I told Madame X I could not sit today?
His look of pained astonishment made her redden. You promised, Simone. She backed against the wall.
I won't do it, Robert. I won't do it.
And again that glance of his, tenderly reproachful, that made her wince. It's not the money I'm thinking of, Simone.
Though you must realize the money this woman has offered you for this last sitting is enormous, simply enormous. There are things that matter more than money. Certainly there are. That is just what I am saying. Consider, this woman is a mother who has lost her only child. If you are not really ill, if it is only a whim on your part, you can deny a rich woman a caprice. But can you deny a mother one last sight of her child? The medium flung her hands out despairingly in front of her. Oh, you torture me! Oh, but you are right. I will do as you wish. But I know now what I am afraid of. It is the word mother. Simone! There are certain primitive elementary forces, Robert. Most of them have been destroyed by civilization. But motherhood stands where it stood at the beginning. Animals, human beings, they are all the same. A mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It knows no law, no pity. It dares all things and crushes down remorselessly all that stands in its path. I am foolish today, Robert. I know it. He took her hand in his. Lie down for a minute or two. Rest till she comes. Very well. She smiled at him and left the room. Robert remained for a minute or two, lost in thought. Then he strode to the door, opened it, and crossed the little hall. He went into a room the other side of it, a sitting room very much like the one he had left. But at one end was an alcove with a big armchair set in it. Heavy black velvet curtains were arranged so as to pull across the alcove. Elsie was busy arranging the room. Close to the alcove she'd set 2 chairs and a small round table. On the table was a tambourine, a horn, and some paper and pencils. This is the last time? Oh, sir, I wish it was all over and done with now. The sharp ting of an electric bell sounded. There she is, that great monolith of a woman. Why can't she go and pray decently for her little one's soul in a church? Burn a candle to our Blessed Lady? Does not the good God know what is best for us? Answer the bell, Elsie. She threw him a look, but obeyed. In a minute or two she returned, ushering in the visitor. I will tell my mistress you are here, madam. Robert came forward to shake hands with Madame X. Simone's words floated back to his memory. So big, so black. Yes, she was a big woman, and the heavy black of mourning seemed almost exaggerated in her case. I fear I am a little late, sir. A few moments only. Madame Simone is lying down. I am sorry to say she's far from well, very nervous and overwrought. Her hand, which was just withdrawing, closed on his suddenly like a vice. But she will sit. Oh, yes, she will sit. Madame X gave a sigh of relief and sank into a chair, loosening one of the heavy black veils which floated round her. Oh, sir, you cannot imagine the wonder and the joy of these seances to me. My little one, my Amy, to see her, to hear her even, perhaps to even be able to stretch out my hand and touch her. Madame X, how can I explain? On no account must you do anything except under my express directions, otherwise there is the greatest danger. Robert spoke quickly and peremptorily. Danger to me? No, to the medium. You must understand that the phenomena that occur are explained by science in a certain way. I will put the matter very simply, using no technical terms. But a spirit, to manifest itself, has to use the actual physical substance of a medium. You have seen the vapour of fluid issuing from the lips of a medium. This finally condenses and is built up into the physical semblance of the spirit's dead body. But this ectoplasm we believe to be the actual substance of the medium. We hope to prove this some day by careful weighing and testing, but the great difficulty is the danger and pain which attends the medium on any handling of the phenomena. Were anyone to seize hold of a materialization roughly, the death of the medium might result. Madame X had listened to him with close attention. That is very interesting, sir. Tell me,
Shall not a time come when the materialization shall advance so far that it shall be capable of detachment from its parent, the medium? That is a fantastic speculation. But on the facts, not impossible? Quite impossible as of today. But perhaps in the future. He was saved from answering, for at that moment Simone entered. She looked languid and pale, but had evidently regained entire control of herself. She came forward and shook hands with Madame X, though Robert noticed the faint shiver that passed through her as she did so. "I regret to hear that you are indisposed." "It's nothing. Shall we begin?" She went to the alcove and sat down in the armchair. Suddenly Robert in his turn felt a wave of fear pass over him. "You're not strong enough," he found himself exclaiming. "We had better cancel the seance. Madame X will understand." "Sir!" That woman had risen indignantly. Yes, it is better not. I'm sure of it." And he was. Somehow, suddenly, he was. "Madame Simone promised me one last sitting." "That is so," agreed Simone quietly. "And I am prepared to carry out my promise." "I hold you to it, madame." "I do not break my word." "Do not fear, Robert. After all, it is for the last time. Thank God." At a sign from her, Robert drew the heavy black curtains across the alcove. He also pulled the curtains of the window so that the room was in semi-obscurity. He indicated one of the chairs to Madame X and prepared himself to take the other. Madame X, however, hesitated. "You will pardon me, sir, but you understand, I believe absolutely in your integrity and in that of Madame Simone. All the same, so that my testimony may be the more valuable, I took the liberty of bringing this with me." From her handbag she drew a length of fine cord. "Madam, this is an insult." "A precaution." "It is an insult." "If there is no trickery, you have nothing to fear." "I can assure you that I have nothing to fear." "Very well. Bind me, hand and foot, if you will." His speech did not produce the effect he hoped, for she merely murmured unemotionally, "Thank you," and advanced upon him with her roll of cord. Suddenly Simone from behind the curtain gave a cry. No, Robert, don't let her do it." Madame X laughed derisively. "You are afraid?" "Yes, I am afraid." "Simone, remember what you're saying," cried Robert. "Madame X is apparently under the impression that we are charlatans." "I must make sure." She went methodically about her task, binding Robert securely to his chair. "I must congratulate you on your knots, ma'am. Are you satisfied now?" She did not reply. She walked round the room, examining the panelling of the walls closely. Then she locked the door leading into the hall and, removing the key, returned to her chair. Now I am ready." The minutes passed. From behind the curtain the sound of Simone's breathing became heavier and more stertorous. Then it died away altogether, to be succeeded by a series of moans. Then again there was silence for a little while, broken by the sudden clattering of the tambourine. The horn was caught up from the table and dashed to the ground. Ironic laughter was heard. The curtains of the alcove seemed to have been pulled back a little. The medium's figure was just visible through the opening, her head fallen forward on her breast. Suddenly Madame X drew in her breath sharply. A ribbon-like stream of mist was issuing from the medium's mouth. It condensed and began gradually to assume a shape, the shape of a little child. "Amy! My little Amy!" The hazy figure condensed still further. Robert stared almost incredulously. Never had there been a more successful materialization. Now, surely it was a real child, a real flesh and blood child standing there. "Mamma?" The soft, childish voice spoke. "My child, My child! She half rose from her seat. Be careful, madam. The materialization came hesitatingly through the curtains. It was a child. She stood there, her arms held out.
Mama?
Oh! Cried Madame X. Again she half rose from her seat. Madam, the medium! I must touch her. She moved forward a step. For God's sake, control yourself! Robert was really alarmed now. Sit down at once! My little one, I must touch her. I command you, sit down! He was writhing desperately in his bonds, but Madame X had done her work well. He was helpless. A terrible sense of impending disaster swept over him. In the name of God, madam, sit down! Remember the medium! Madame X turned on him with a harsh laugh. What do I care for your medium? I want my child! Are you mad? My child, I tell you, mine, my own flesh and blood. My little one come back to me from the dead, alive and breathing. Robert opened his lips, but no words would come. She was terrible, this woman, remorseless, savage, absorbed by her own passion. Her baby lips parted, and for the third time the word echoed. Come, my little one. With a sharp gesture she caught the child up in her arms. From behind the curtains came a long, drawn-out scream of utter anguish. Simone! Simone! He was vaguely aware of Madame X rushing past him, of the unlocking of a door, of the retreating footsteps down the stairs. From behind the curtains there still sounded the terrible, high, long-drawn scream, such a scream as Robert had never heard. It died away with a horrible kind of gurgle. Then there came the thud of a body falling. Robert was working like a maniac to free himself from his bonds. In his frenzy he accomplished the impossible, snapping the cord by sheer strength. As he struggled to his feet, Elsie rushed in, crying out, Madam! Madam! Simone! Together they rushed forward and pulled the curtain. Robert staggered back. My God! Red! All red! Oh, Madam is dead! It is end! Why? She's all shrunken away. She's half her usual size. What has been happening here? I do not know. But I think I am going mad. Simone! Outside, Madame X hurried to her waiting car, clutching the child to her. Telling the driver to go quickly, she gazed down upon her daughter, tears in her eyes. Amy, my sweet Amy, I am Simone. No, you're not. I am Simone. No! You have come back to me, my darling, my child, my sweet Amy. I am dying. No! She stared down in horror as the features dissolved. The shape became lighter, became mist, air, nothing at all. The Seance was performed by Matthew Jones and was adapted from the short story by Agatha Christie. It was an MJAM Story Club presentation.